Are your operations and security functions automated? Have you eliminated manual processes as you start to tighten up your security and controls? Hi, I'm Peter Nichol, Data Science CIO. Today we're going to talk about DevSecOps. DevSecOps is development, security, and operations. So first, I just want to start quickly about and explain what DevOps is to make sure we have a delineation and a separation between the two. DevOps is the focus on development and operations and the automation through the building, the testing, and the releasing of some type of functionality into your environment. What we're talking about here is the addition of security. So previously, when we had one or maybe two big releases a year, security wasn't such a big concern. And the reason was we had lots of time to provide those security controls and make sure that those procedures and policies were adhered to. Well, with CI/CD pipelines or continuous improvement and continuous delivery pipelines, with monthly or weekly or even daily releases, it becomes much more important to be able to evaluate and measure our security footprint on a more consistent basis. The idea of continual security goes back to Dr. Joseph Duran, one of the founders of quality. And he had an idea of quality by design, or QBD. And the basic concept is that he believed that quality wasn't an aspect of an output of a product. It didn't just happen when it was created, but it needed to be designed through the entire process to result in a product of high quality and ultimately low defects. When you think of DevSecOps, we're talking about the same type of thing, or security by design. We're trying to design quality into our ecosystem, not do an assessment at the very end to determine if some of those qualities, their procedures, or security standards were implemented effectively. The way this works is we need to make sure that we have security workflows and we have development standards and architecture definitions, and ultimately have put in place a lot of these different parts to make sure that we can be streamlined and orchestrate effectively and wrap in security as a critical element of our design. So what are the benefits? Well, obviously, we're removing manual processes as we do a release, but ultimately we get some additional benefits. We get the ability to audit, the ability to be compliant, the ability to identify issues right away and take immediate action. And clearly we have some benefits in how we comply and how we report out our compliance levels. So a lot of this stuff is documented and more formalized as opposed to ad hoc and kind of passive. So how do you get started? First, you got to define what your roles and responsibilities for your programs are. Second, you got to establish some policies and get those in place. Third, you need to start to identify and automate some of these functions. Fourth, collect and start to maintain some of the data elements that you're providing and analyzing as a result of validating security through the lifecycle of the release. And last, you need a feedback loop. You need a way to introduce some of those lessons learned and those changes back into your environment. So as you jump off this week and you start to evaluate your operational teams and how they can be a little bit more effective, exploring DevSecOps might be a way to go. Hi, I'm Peter Nichol, Data Science CIO. Have a great day.